Welcome to Wrestling After Show, a part of the Reality After Show podcast network. I'm Jonny Fairplay, joined by my new co-host, Ohmar Gibson. That's right, Gib is speaking that truth. And we have a special guest today. We're talking SummerSlam 2025, and who better to bring us in than Todd Martin from the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter and website, and also, I guess, podcast network. Todd Martin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Johnny. Although I admit I'm a little taken aback because I thought we were reviewing SummerSlam '93. I was all ready to talk about the Lex Express. So I'll do my best, though. I'll do my best.
I did find myself awake until like 3 a.m. because at the conclusion of SummerSlam 2025, I went back to watch Extreme Rules, 2012 with Brock versus Cena, and which I have in my easily top 10 matches of all time, possibly top 5, but definitely top 10. And then I was like, well, then if I'm going to watch one of my top 10 favorite matches of all time, I might as well watch my number 1 favorite match of all time. And that's Great American Bash, Flair versus Funk.
Yep, that was a good one in Baltimore.
Yeah. Were you there?
No. That was before I was a wrestling fan.
Okay. So
I would have loved to have been. I was also living in Singapore at the time, so it would have been difficult.
Yes. So, but we will get to the Brock Lesnar of it all, but let's go through. Let's start. Number one, Todd, we'll start with you. Night 1, letter grade, and night 2, letter grade. And if you want to give a combined letter grade, which I guess we should figure out just by your grades for 1 and 2, but maybe not. Who's to say, right, Todd?
Yeah, I don't usually do letter grades, so I'm sort of thinking through in my head how generous or stingy of a grader I want to be in general. I guess I'll give night 1 a C plus and night 2 an A minus. I thought that there wasn't a ton to recommend on night 1, but I thought that the main event was good, and I thought the angle afterwards was good, and that helped things. And night 2, I thought the wrestling was better up and down. Some of the booking was not as good, but I thought that the success of the main event and the general quality of the wrestling elevated things there. So I guess that would make a collective of maybe a B. Yeah, I guess a B. C plus and A minus would be a B. Okay.
Sure. Who's to say? All right. Ohmar, what do you give a night 1, night 2, and collective?
Okay, so I am definitely you got kind of more of a wrestling historian brain happening here. I'm like the modern day fan here. I would say like night 1 was a solid B for me. Because everything kind of flowed the way I wanted it to, and I was thoroughly entertained. Like I told you yesterday, like it's really more so about how you start and how you finish the show, and also how you start and finish a match. And I thought, from my perspective, night 1 was pretty solid. Like there was some, clunky moments, and there was definitely. I mean, I know we're probably gonna get into it match by match, so I'm gonna save my thoughts on the main event, but it was a really solid night 1, and then night 2 was, I would say, an A. Honestly, that was like as a fan, like literally just a couple weeks ago, I ranked all of the PLEs since like from Evolution all the way back, and I only had 2 make the top tier, and this almost made the top tier for me. So it was a pretty solid night all the way around. I'd say it was like an A.
Okay, so for SummerSlam as a collective, are you A minus, B plus, or
A? Definitely a solid A on the SummerSlam as a collective. A solid A.
All right, there we go.
They did everything that I wanted them to do as a fan, and surprised me a little bit.
Sure. I'm going night 1 a B, and I could easily be talked into like a C plus. However, I never looked at my watch, and like that's a big thing for me when it comes to rating or ranking PLEs. Like, I'll watch an AEW pay-per-view and I'm just like please just end this. Like, I mean, like, I'm looking forward to the main event, but I don't care. It's midnight. I have shit to do tomorrow, and it's just so painful. And so for me to not look at my watch, and then and by the time I have not looked at my watch and we're on to the main event, I'm like, all right, we win. All is well in the world. It's the main event. I have not looked at my phone. We're good. So, and there were some problems with night one, but I was good there. Night two, I don't remember looking at my watch, but where was this John Cena for the past 8 months? Like, big match John showed up for the big match.
You did.
Yeah, so I night two, definitely an A. And I'm the biggest Punk fan on the planet, and just night two just superseded every expectation that I had in my head. So I'm gonna go with I'm going to let night two carry the weekend for me, and I'm going to be at an A. I mean, I guess technically an A minus, but like I'm kind of with you, Ohmar. It's just like, when all is said and done in the wrestling world, there's, last night at 10 p.m., I had a big smile on my face, and that's once again, Vince used to put smiles on people's faces. There's a smile. And he loves Brock Lesnar, so that's good. Yeah, I'm happy, and did we need a 2-night SummerSlam? No. Did we need a 2-night SummerSlam with a 2-week build because we had to fight AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year? No, but that's where we landed. That's where we are. And the same time next year, I will be on Jason Powell's couch. And so I'm very for at least 2 nights, because we have another 2-night SummerSlam. So I'm pretty excited about that. So
you're going to travel to SummerSlam, but you're not going to go to the show?
That's hilarious. Wait, what? Wait, what is happening? Wait, what? They're going to go to the show, but you're going to be in the city?
No, I'm going to the show. I'm just staying on Jason. Okay. I'm just staying on Jason. Well, I mean, I'm not staying on his. I mean, like I'm not going to his couch and not leaving the couch. I'll just be. I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Okay, because the way you worded it was very. I'm not leaving the couch until these 2 days is up.
I will be sleeping on Jason Powell's couch. So the best part about that information is this is news to Jason Powell. I don't think
you heard it here first.
Yeah, exclusive news.
I've invited myself to your couch.
That's fine. I've invited myself plenty of places. So let's start night one, match one. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Todd, we'll go to you first. I feel like you like this less than me and Ohmar, but let's see if these thoughts are true.
Yeah, I thought it was a mixed bag of a match. I thought that there were some big spots that were very good, but that there were also sort of stretches where it was sort of slow and dragged a little bit. So I thought overall the match was yeah. I mean, it was a mixed bag for me. I was also my enjoyment of the match was also affected by my feeling, and I've talked about this on the podcast too with Wade, the fix at pwtorch.com, is that my feeling is Roman Reigns is one of their biggest stars, probably their most popular figure, even more so than Cody. Yeah. And he doesn't have many dates. He's wrestled very few times since last year's WrestleMania with Cody, and I just feel like they're wasting his career. He's just in this ineffectual tag match. It's fine. Jay pins Bronson Reed for the finish. There was no meat to it. There's no consequence to it, and it just feels. It's hard for me to praise it very highly when it feels to me you've got a big figure. You could put him in a big match and get people excited in it, and advance his career, advance someone else's career, and it just feels like you throw him in a tag match that could be on Raw, except for the fact that Roman Reigns is in it. And that was a negative to me.
Interesting.
Ohmar, where are you at on our weekend opener?
Yeah, like it definitely. I guess the big spots kind of carried it for me. Um, Because like I actually literally just rewatched this match just to get another opinion on it to see if it would make me feel different, and it didn't. I was still thoroughly entertained the entire time watching it. Like it made sense to me that you would have B&B security as they've been dubbed, at least by some of the IWC, beat up Jey Uso for most of the match just because Roman, like you said, is the bigger star there. I didn't necessarily. I don't know if I agree that he was wasted, just because it felt like we needed somebody big enough to make the difference, because I don't think with everything that was happening before they weren't really like doing much to like Seth Rollins crewing them. Um, this I don't know, this is a little weird, but I was very, very, very entertained by this match. Like I said yesterday, seeing Roman Reigns fly and almost fly himself right to the pearly gates was absolutely everything. Jey Uso getting the pin instead of Roman Reigns, being a bigger star, it obviously means they actually still see some value in Jey Uso, and hopefully that means they actually have a story for him moving forward too. After this, I like seeing him being the one to get the pin and being able to win it for the team, and it was also cool seeing Roman get his get back from being speared to the hell by Braun Breaker over the past couple weeks to actually see that reverse. So it felt like just like a feel good moment to kind of get people started for the quote unquote biggest party of the summer or whatever.
Summerfest, a big fan. The biggest part of the summer, according to Jeremy Piven, I believe. uh, for me, I felt it was a really cool showcase of Bronson and Braun. Like I felt like they both looked like stars, felt like stars. They both appeared to be just so amped to be there and to show off, where they are in the pecking order of things. The Shula Fala, I popped for.
Although he never reclaimed them. I feel like, they should have reclaimed them at the end.
Yes, Roman should have got his shoes back. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And the fact that Roman Reigns is the first wrestler with a shoe deal, I'm just like, is that true? Because we did have Ruse, shoes for your feet, pockets for your stuff, sponsor Lex Luger, Sting, and the Road Warriors.
I don't know. Maybe it's a technicality thing of a brand deal versus a sponsorship.
I don't know. So, but I do look back on those commercials with fondness, but never bought the shoes because I guess I bought Ruse prior to the WCW deal, but or maybe that was just NWA. But anyway, I felt like I'd kind of outgrown Ruse by the time that they were on board with wrestling. So I guess the big takeaway from that match is Roman Reigns is now more of a good guy because he sacrificed himself, and Roman Reigns would never have done that before. But I'm just like, all right, like as Todd mentioned, like couldn't that story have been told on Raw, and like let's get a big match from Roman Reigns for like if this PLE was the Paris pay-per-view or whatever the pay-per-view whatever pay-per-view just not SummerSlam. Like we got limited dates on this guy, like give me one more date before this and then give me this tag match. And then SummerSlam, give me Braun versus Roman. Or I'll take Bronson Reed versus Roman. I don't care. So, but I think Todd's right in that, it's like this. It's not, I think without a shadow of a doubt, the number one most famous, biggest star in that company is Roman Reigns. And, by far. And sorry, Cody, but sorry, Cena, or whatever. But like, I don't know. At the same time, I enjoyed the match. I'm over the yeet. Like I was in. I get it. It's fun. But like by the time that that the first yeet is over, I'm like, okay, I'm good on the yeet. And then to bring the
The running back.
I'm like, oh please, dear Lord, just stop. And oh no, and but they it
I
was
like it for Roman's participation. It was again another just fun moment, just kicking off the fun, the good time aspect of SummerSlam.
well, maybe I'm not into fun or good times then. Todd, are you anti fun and good times?
I'm distinctly anti fun and good times. I try to snuff it out before it comes up if I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that looks like Joy over there. Cut it.
Exactly. Yes. I've got a good joy detector. It's, I'm sensing something. I'm sensing something.
Yeah. So, and apparently Jay's worked on his wind so that he got to win the match because he worked on cardio, I think is the reward for when you work on the cardio. All right. I believe next was the women's tag match, Judgment Day versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They're not friends, guys.
They're not.
Yes.
Even though they clearly have a bond.
Yes.
It's amazing to watch.
Oh, Ohmar, we'll start this one with you. What'd you think?
Oh man! Again, this was one of those where I got exactly what I wanted and was a little bit surprised by the story. Like, far as Alexa Bliss hitting Charlotte Flair, like I thought, like, okay, well, this is about to break down. They're not about to win the titles like I wanted them to. And then, having Charlotte Flair kind of appear like the monster in the back corner, just to look like she's about to take out Alexa, just to take out Raquel, to give Alexa the win. Like, this was one of those where I got exactly what I needed, so I was happy as a fan. And then they surprised me with a little bit of a story, so it made it more of a moment. Like, it took a B match to an A for me.
Fair enough.
So,
Todd, where are you at on?
Yeah, that was a pretty good match. That was the second best match on the show. Fast paced, which was good, and I thought that the layout of the match was clever for exactly the reason Ohmar brings up, which is they'd gone into this show making you want to see these people get together, but obviously there's reason to believe that they wouldn't be able to, and that you might just break them up into a singles feud. And so they set up the spot where it looks like, oh, things are falling apart, and I think a lot of people were taken in by that, and they're thinking, oh, I was hoping that they were going to win the match, but now it looks like they're gonna feud instead. But it was just there to misdirect you, and they still pulled off the win. So I thought that was a smart layout to do exactly what Ohmar said, which is to make you think you're not going to get what you want to see and then give it to you.
Yeah. I agree with all that. I don't really care if Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are friends, but I feel like I'm in the minority on that. I feel a lot of people are like Ohmar. They're like, oh my God, this is happening. But I will say this: Charlotte Flair on the post show deal, which is no longer a media scrum because we are not taking questions from anyone, even our elected people that we take questions from. We are not taking those either. Charlotte was the most human she's ever. I met Charlotte. I hung out with Charlotte and Reed. I was at Reed's first match in Charlotte. It was I don't even remember. Like, it was maybe the Nasty Boys versus. I think it was the Nasty Boys versus Reed and Rick, and Hogan was there. It was great, but afterwards, me, Reed, and Charlotte went out, and when the night was over, I didn't walk away from that night going, "Wow, she seems like a robot." Like, she seemed like a normal person. Like, she was fun and talked normal, and like everything I saw afterwards, it's I am the queen. You were I am a Flair. It's like, oh, like we're like, girl, like power up before you do, whatever's missing here. So, and that post deal for night one, it was a human being talking. So if that's what it took to get this person to not be a robot, I'm all in on that.
Same. Like you said, she was clearly having fun, and I'm one of those people where when I see people having a good time, I also have a good time. Like, you're loving what you do, I love that for you, and I love Charlotte Flair as well. So, this whole turn, and seeing Charlotte Flair actually go from being booed at WrestleMania to crowds going absolutely crazy for her at Evolution and now at SummerSlam has been, everything for me, the Charlotte Flair fan.
I looked it up, by the
I
way.
love her for a reason.
Apologies, Omar. I looked it up, by the way, and you were correct, Johnny. It was David Flair and Reed Flair against the Nasty Boys with Hulk Hogan as a special guest referee from the prestigious Vance High School. They were hanging from the rafters, although that was not, in fact, the first match of Reed Flair, as he wrestled Vince Russo a couple times in WCW matches.
That is true. With I believe, didn't he have his wrestling headgear on?
Yes, I think you're right in remembering that. I by the way, did not remember that. I was only reminded of it when looking up the specific match at that you were referencing.
Yeah, that same card. It was
Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express.
The Ricky Steamboat Jr.
Yes, against the Man Scout Jake Manning.
The Man Scout Jake Manning, which is quite a gimmick. Yes. He really leaned in on all aspects of being a Boy Scout leader, if you catch my drift.
So he was still doing the Man Scout thing back then. I was when he started. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Ricky Steamboat Jr., he came to the ring in like a Mid-Atlantic Wrestling red jacket, like Ricky Steamboat used to wear in the NWA. And like I was just, like, my big takeaway from that night was, if Reed gets it, he gets it. But the star is Ricky Steamboat Jr. And then, wow, did I misguess that one?
Well, a lot of people were high on him, even in FCW. I remember, because I wasn't watching the show that they were putting on at that point, but I remember people raving about him and thinking very highly of him. But I think injuries were a big part of it.
I literally was about to ask what happened, because I know who Ricky Steamboat is. I'm like, wait, he had a son who wrestled too? Why do I know this person?
Great looking kid. I mean, great. Like his dad was really good looking. This kid was even better looking. So I think he had a back injury.
And not only did he have a real son and a real brother, but he had fake brothers. He had a fake father. He had all sorts of things as well.
Who does it in the wrestling world? I grew up off of Kane and Undertaker being brothers. So
listen, I have no family whatsoever, but that's okay. I'm still Boca Raton Cruiserweight Champion of the world.
Really quickly, before we get back to the SummerSlam, you're a wrestler. Would you rather take a spear from Braun Breaker or a tsunami from Bronson Reed?
Tsunami from Bronson Reed.
Same here.
Wow, really? Yeah. I was surprised.
I feel like Bronson. I feel like there's a high probability Bronson Reed doesn't even touch you when he lands.
He like arms and legs, but
yeah.
Okay.
So I took a running power slam from Scotty Too Hottie, and I never touched the mat.
Oh wow.
So
that's amazing. See, that's somebody who, like, that is pretty dope. I would think like all of that would, like, there's no way to pull off some of these moves without some level of pain.
Yeah, I feel like Braun Breaker's going through you. I show speed is
folded in half.
Yes. Oh God, that's still like. Is like, is he okay? I'm just like, he's obviously concussed. I don't know. Does anyone not? No. Yeah. All right. So next, was next Sammy Karrion Kross. Yeah. All right. Omar, you go first. What do you think of Sami Zayn Karrion Kross, and what is potentially his final appearance in WWE?
I am so saddened by that because I love Karrion Kross as a character. I have not loved a single Karrion Kross match, unfortunately, and I was hoping that this would be the one. I was hoping that they would do. Well, I didn't know that John Cena and Cody would eventually make up for WrestleMania, but I was hoping that they would like somehow pull something out of their ass and just be like, "This is why we had a feud. This is why you guys love me." All of this, I was so let down by this entire match, so much so that I don't even remember what happened because I blocked it out of my brain. It was just that bad. I do remember the whole spot with Scarlett giving them the weapon and Sammy not using it. If Sammy would have used that and won the match that way, that would have made this match a little bit worth it because Karrion gets the story win. but they didn't even do that. Sammy continues to be the ever loving baby face who does the right thing, who is so frustrating for me to watch. I love Sami Zayn wrestling. I love watching him wrestle. I despise his good guy character, goody two shoes character. I hate it. This was the moment to do something
Now you're
different, and they
talking to
did
me.
not.
That's my man. Yeah.
Like this
Two
is like
happy
it
characters.
really pissed me off. It really pissed me off that they did not choose to go that route. But it is what it is. If this is carrying across his last match, that is unfortunate. I heard he's had good matches in other promotions. Maybe I
You
might
heard.
watch those, but because I don't. I make it very clear that I am a WWE guy through and through. There are wrestlers that I know of from WWE that are in other companies that I still want to watch their matches just because. Like I don't want to. I'm the type of person where I'm gonna have to sit through the whole show. I'm gonna watch a couple weeks of show before that so I can get into the storylines, and then it's gonna be a whole rabbit hole thing. I can't do that to myself again.
Well, Todd, you know that Ohmar likes a good time and fun, but apparently when you put the two together and combine Sami Zayn, thumbs down.
No. No, I have not liked Sami Zayn since he left the bloodline. I've not been a fan since that whole thing. I supported him through that a little bit, and that was it. I was just like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see this anymore. Cool.
Wow.
Like his matches, love his matches, but I can't.
I feel we're on the opposite on here. I think Todd's on my team. Todd, what do you think of this?
The match I didn't think was much. It was just sort of there. Not the best, not one of the worst matches of the weekend, unfortunately. I mean, Sammy's very talented in the ring. Cross, it's rare when you get a particularly good match out of Cross. I mean, I think he does best in that sort of blood sport style, where it's more of sort of a.
That's what I've been hearing.
But he doesn't give you the best matches, and the match didn't really stand out. It was more about hopefully moving on from Karrion Kross recruiting him and Sammy fighting him off, because I do think that Sammy is better off as a babyface. He's just a natural good guy. So and the fans like him. So I think he's better off staying in this role. And hopefully they're moving on from this feud, which hasn't done a lot for either guy.
No, I'm a big Karrion Kross fan. As a I do charity work. Used to do charity work for Give Kids the World every December, and now we still go down there, but it's not affiliated with Give Kids the World anymore. And I've had the opportunity to meet Scarlett and Karrion, and just two of the nicest people ever. I mean, for a girl to be that hot, to be so nice, is rarity in my world.
Right.
Harley Cameron, very, very, very similar in that aspect, which is crazy. But I root for Karrion Kross, but when it's his matches, I remember I did a podcast back, I don't know, 4 years ago, and I need to search out the match. It was an old WCW Saturday Night show. And it was like Dick Slater versus a jobber, but it was literally one of the most entertaining. Dick Slater is kind of comparable to Karrion Kross in that it's like, oh, Dick Slater kind of sucks, right? Like he doesn't. This match was one of the most entertaining jobber matches I've ever seen in my entire life. And I remember watching it going, this is what Dean Ambrose or John Moxley needs to do. Instead of the gore fest, this is entertaining. Steal from Dick Slater. No one else is. And I feel.
There is a lot of connection, because Dick Slater, a lot of his stuff was Terry Funk stuff, and John Moxley uses a lot of that Terry Funk stuff too. So I actually think that Slater and Moxley work pretty similarly in terms of what they did. And Slater's one of those guys where when I started watching wrestling, he sucked, and so the only things that I saw of him that were good were before I was watching, and so I tend to have him in more negative light. But he had a really positive reputation in his prime. He was thought to be a very good worker, on top of being a tough guy. It's just like a lot of that stuff just isn't available, on video.
Yeah. So no. So I think Karrion Kross could stand to watch an old Dick Slater match, steal from that, and I think there's something there, but I don't think he works in this environment, and there's some guys that are better suited for AEW, and some guys that are better. I think that the character work, the non-match stuff works for WWE. I would like to see Karrion and Scarlett go to AEW and this be the Aleister Black that Tony paid for and didn't get. So, but I don't need a House of Black. I do not need Karrion Kross in the trios division.
Yeah, I do want that character to like. It sucks because I like that character so much. If I wonder if somebody else could even do that the way he does. But with the Sami Zayn of it all, I would like to say you don't have to be a heel, but at least a baby face with some edge. Like just too squeaky clean for me. But
I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna evolve into that character, and I could see next year's WrestleMania being a heel CM Punk or a heel Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn, or even Royal Rumble, and we're gonna get that baby face with a little fire under him.
I hope so.
All right. Sorry, Karrion Kross. And we're not. I mean, as I said, Karrion Kross, he loves to work the internet and all that. So maybe he's still there or whatever. But if not, we didn't get the payoff that we were like. The whole reason for this match was the apology. we did that. So yeah. So
and it did advance either character in any meaningful way. Like this could have definitely been on Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, easily. So I think they just had and if you were paying attention to the crowd, this was the popcorn match. Like you really saw them
people
full force. So all right, we'll speed up a little bit. Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, sorry. Todd and I are on a similar page. And you're probably going to disagree with us, Ohmar.
What?
I think it's time to give up on the Jade Cargill experience, experiment.
Oh.
I as Todd has mentioned, and I'm gonna mention it when we get to the tag team TLC deal. There is so much talent and talented women in WWE and NXT that you give the same amount of push and time and energy to someone else that can deliver when they need to on every level that Jay does not. I would spend that equity elsewhere. And same with B-Fab. Sorry. There is no reason for B-Fab to be on this roster.
So. Ooh, okay, so with the Jade, I hate to do that when they do the like releases and it'd be like, oh, you left this person go, but you kept this person. But I still am ate up by them cutting Kay and Carter and Katana Chance. They were like, they could have really used them in that tag team division. They were really good in the ring. But as far as Jade Cargill, I actually am not fully on the other side of that. I'm like kind of like stepping, I'm on the line. Because she has not really delivered in the ring, and I don't think they could get away with Goldberg style booking. That would be the only way that you can make her work as a character, honestly. Especially if you were trying to put any type of belt on her. But it is unfortunate that they did seem to put so much into her that's not really working with it need to. And at this point, I mean, they always could try with the whole, hey, look, just go down to NXT, go play down there for a couple, maybe years, whatever, and maybe we'll try this again. But for right now, I like as the match went on, like because going into this, I did want to see Jade with a belt, but it was very evident that she is not ready for it. So I was okay with them not giving it to her.
That's a key issue, though. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What is your thought?
No, I didn't. I was kind of done.
Okay, so that's the key issue is that I would view it differently if she was just another developmental person, because she has some strengths, in terms of like her look, in terms of the way she carries herself. If she was just signed like a bunch of other people out of college, then like fine, like send her back to developmental, work on some more, see if it see if you put it together, because she's got a big upside if she's able to put those things together. But the key with her is they brought her in from AEW with a big contract. I mean, I don't know what the contract is specifically, but like, she's not leaving Tony Khan, who is giving her a big push and giving her sizable money in his own right, without even negotiating with him, without getting a sizable offer. And she got a straight to main roster contract, which they give to very few people, including people that are really talented. I mean, Stephanie Vaquer didn't get a straight to main roster contract. Julia didn't get a straight to main roster contract.
Well, I heard, I don't know if it was with one or both of those, but I heard that one of them wanted to go down to NXT to kind of get used to the WWE style, and to kind of work on her English a little bit. Okay,
but that meant getting the NXT contract at first, and I'm sure that Vaquer didn't get the money that Jade Cargill did. So I mean, they brought her in with the expectations of being strong. It's like it's like in the NFL. Like if you bring in a 4th round pick and he's effective on special teams, and he's playing suitably well when he gets his reps, then you might keep him around for a few more years or re-sign him. But if you got a 1st round contract guy, and it's up to 4 years, and he's playing on special teams and showing some promise, but he's not a star, you're not gonna pick up that 5th-year option, because it's a completely different scale. And that's where Jade Cargill is, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like she did work in the tag team division though, but with the right person.
She's been fine from a character work standpoint. She just hasn't taken to the in-ring, and some people do and some people don't. And I don't see any signs that she's going to.
Yeah, and you literally see her thinking of her next move. When you visually see them thinking of their next move, then you're pulling me out of the match. And Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. I mean, let's be honest, guys. It takes time to figure out where the hard cam is. Like Samoa Joe, it's with Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, like 3 years. So. Those are really good wrestlers. So, but I mean, that hard case, it's like because there's 4 sides of the ring. So you're like, is it there? Is nope, it's there. So
another one is like, it's surprising how hard it is for people to pick up that when you pin someone and they kick out, you're supposed to go like that. It's surprising how many wrestlers from outside of WWE don't pick up on that point.
Yeah. So it's tough. So, well, you have to work in the distraction. So there's also that, because a pin cannot take place without a distraction.
No, it's the whole thing.
All right, Jelly Roll, Randy Orton. I mean, I don't even know why Randy Orton was there. Jelly Roll did all the work, and versus my favorite wrestler, Logan Paul, and my other favorite wrestler, Drew McIntyre. Todd, we'll start.
Yeah, I described this on the show I did as being a good celebrity match from 1997, in the sense that, like, when the expectation of celebrities was they couldn't do very much, you got in there, you do a few spots, they look good, or good enough, like that's good. You got it done. Not so good match of a match in 2025, when we've seen the celebrity match been so elevated with people like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul and others who have had really genuinely good matches right off the bat. And I don't think this was a genuinely good match. I thought Jelly Roll did fine, but it stood out as not being as good as a lot of the other stuff on the show, and was largely carried by that big spot that Logan Paul pulled off with the frog splash off the top through the table, which he's done before, but I don't think he's ever done as spectacularly as he did here. So it was a good match for Logan Paul. I thought Jelly Roll did well for what you would expect from him, but I don't think the match was particularly good because of the people you were working with. And I'm not a big fan of booking celebrities who don't look like they would be in a fight, being booked to just wrestle fine against wrestlers. I think it kind of it frames your show as harder to suspend your disbelief for, which I think has all sorts of secondary problems.
I think Jelly Roll did a good Karl Malone impression.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I mean, Karl Malone probably did better than him, but it's similar type of thing. Karl Malone wasn't doing moonsaults and really elaborate moves, but you could see the athleticism and what he did, and what he did look good.
When the hell did this happen? Like, I've heard about so many celebrity guests. Karl Malone was one too.
Yeah, he had a match. It's
He was that.
1998, and they built it up with Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman getting into it in the NBA Finals of all things.
Yeah.
And Karl Malone was aligned with Diamond Dallas Page, and Dennis Rodman was aligned with Hulk Hogan. And they had a match that pulled off pretty well. Diamond Dallas, Karl Malone was a wrestling fan, and obviously a great athlete, and he did pretty well for himself.
Yeah,
and it makes sense that I didn't hear that because I was 2 at the time. But
yeah, there you go. Well, check it out on Peacock.
Yeah, and Karl Malone also a truck driver, a tractor trailer driver in his spare time. I'm not sure why, and drove the tractor trailer to the event.
Hilarious!
Yes.
Oh my god!
So because he's a man of the people.
He's for the people. We gotta love it. But for the match, though, I had a decent enough time with it. I was not high on it going in. Jelly Roll has one of those crying faces that annoys me. So I was very irritated going into this match because I knew I was gonna have to see it again. But it was fun. Logan Paul, like you said, with the Logan Paul spot, it kind of really carried the match really for me, and that's what Logan Paul excels in, kind of the spectacle style wrestling. So that's kind of what I thought I would get here, and that's what I got. I'm not the biggest Randy Orton fan either. It kind of just comes in, does his little 4 or 5 moves, and it's like, get out of here. And that's kind of what we got here too. So I like that. It was a nice moment to see Jelly Roll, get carried out and be like, oh, I'm not gonna let Randy Orton just get beat up. I'll go get beat up too. And so and I like that they lost the match too. So
are you a Jelly Roll fan in real life?
No, I only heard his song because like last year it was the theme for one of the PLEs, and that song is a mainstay on my playlist now. But I have yet to actually listen to more Jelly Roll music.
Okay, so I'm not a big Jelly Roll fan. My fiance, she literally explained to me yesterday. She's like, he's going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is one of the biggest stars they've ever had in the history of WWE. This guy's not going anywhere. And as I was telling Todd last night, he is the country Post Malone, which from her was a compliment, and for me and Todd, we took it as we felt we should.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not how it works. I mean, success-wise, it is what it is, but that's quality.
There is a likability to him that I don't personally have, but I see and I get, and I think it's a smart move. And someone one of the comments in the chat, McIntyre is above a celebrity match at SummerSlam. Yes and no. I think that McIntyre is one of those go along to get along type guys, and he's just like, hey, if this is the spot for me, I'm here. And I think they know that in case of emergency, break glass, he is your main event bad guy when you need him to be, or down the road main event good guy when they need him to be. But the problem with him on SmackDown is you put him in a feud with Cody Rhodes is going to get booed.
I don't know.
So?
I don't know.
I think he's just so
with Drew?
good at what he does.
Yeah,
in a bad way. Punk is Punk, but people are ready to turn on Cody Rhodes.
Well, yeah. If you mean if they put him into a feud with him before going into Clash, then yes, I could see that, because then you're talking about that's Drew's stomping ground too. Well, not really, but it's on his side of the water, so I could see that being a thing. And yes, people are definitely ready to boo Cody Rhodes because they definitely did last night. It took me out for a second. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, Cody needs a feud with Logan Paul right now.
Mm-hmm. Somebody to just completely turn it around, hey, I'm still the good guy here.
Yeah. So, all right. Main event: Gunther versus CM Punk. We have a new world heavyweight champion. As soon as the match ended, you got tears from CM Punk, and if you're like me, you turned off your television because that was the end of the show. And there's nothing more to talk about. So,
well done, Johnny.
You did it actually. You did. Here, this is the joke right now.
No, I'm kidding. All right.
Oh my God.
Ohmar, what did you think?
Oh man, they could have shaved about 5 minutes off this match, and I do think the wrong person got color, as you guys say. But I did enjoy it. Also one other I think I didn't like. There seemed to be some missing power from Gunther's power slams this time. I don't know if I was the only one who noticed that, but usually them look pretty impactful, and it felt like he was. I got Nia Jax War Games chair shots, PTSD flashbacks every time he did a power slam to CM Punk.
Oh, the power bombs. The power bombs were a little,
Power bombs. I'm sorry. Yes,
they
yes.
were a little soft. Well, no. Michael Cole called one a power slam. So you were.
Oh, okay, that's
You're going by the,
anyway, yes. The power bombs was missing a whole lot of power. There was no power, no bombs. There was what's the things you throw at the ground? Oh, 4th of July, the poppers. Those what those were. That was not a power bomb at all.
there we go.
This is
But
Omar just wants poor 46-year-old Phil Brooks to be murdered out here. He's taking it easy on this guy. He's getting punished for it.
I mean, like I said, that's why I said Nia Jax chair shot PTSD flashbacks because he was just trying to keep people safe, and I totally get Gunther not trying to break CM Punk, but I'm like, ooh, them was looking rough. But like I said, the match in itself was pretty good. I was thoroughly entertained by watching CM Punk get the holy hell beat out of him, only to try to come back and fight back a little bit just to get the oh my God, those Gunther chops. Just to get another one, just to floor him again. It was everything. I do think it would have been a little more impactful to me if CM Punk was the one celebrating with blood all over his face and Seth Rollins music hits, but yeah, that's about it. Then I don't know if we're talking about the actual cash in just yet, but
Go ahead.
that I'm about to say because that absolutely made my night. Seth Rollins is the first person to win me over as a fan when I got back into wrestling. I didn't know who he was when I got back into wrestling, and he was the first guy that I was like, I like him. He's cool. Like,
Well, Seth Rollins didn't know who he was until about 3 months ago, as far as character wise goes.
hey, look, it was
Rollins figured out who he is.
He's he's a visionary. He's a revolutionary.
Listen, there he is, Seth freaking Rollins, man. I don't know. The character work has been a little weird with this whole faction, and him and Paul Heyman don't really gel to me. But all of that aside, watching him come out on those crutches, say what he had to say, and then he turned around. I'm like, oh, they really just blue balls me here. And then he dropped the fucking crutches. That was like, my neighbors heard me scream for sure that night. Like,
I felt Paul Heyman kind of gave it away because Seth starts walking back and Heyman just stands there like, all right, here comes the payoff. And I'm just like, well, thanks, Paul. I mean, like, why are you walking?
You didn't even attempt. This just gave him like a couple more moments. That was a personal moment between Paul and this CM Punk. They had a thing, know. But yeah, but it was everything for me. Seeing it's also just the icing on the cake that CM Punk's title reign lasted 30 seconds less than Drew's, 32 seconds, something like that. So it just like now Drew McIntyre has that win over CM Punk too. It was everything I needed. It was everything I needed. Seth Rollins having gold again, the injury not being real. It honestly gave me the same feeling of watching Seth Rollins win the main event of WrestleMania of night one because I was like, I'm not really feeling this whole night, but that right there just made my night. That made this whole thing worth it.
As we learned from the Netflix special, they love it when we fuck them. We fuck them real good. Hey, you see that? We fucked them. And I'm like, oh my God, Michael Hayes, relax. Jeez. So, Todd, what do you think? Main event night one.
Yeah, that was very good. I thought it was the best thing on the show. I thought the match was very good. It is true that it dragged a little bit at points, but that was part of the story. Was that Punk has had this long, grueling match, and then Rollins comes in and takes him out. So there's something of a necessity there. And I thought the execution of the cash-in was really good. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that trope. I just think it's overdone, and it's sort of become a crutch for some bad decisions. But I thought that this was, just really well done version of it in the sense of just, Punk crying there. He's got the title. He's so happy. And then Rollins comes out and reveals he's not injured and steals the title from him. I thought it worked the way that sort of thing I think is supposed to. So yeah, I thought it it was a good final 40 minutes or whatever it was, and I thought it really went a long way to salvaging night one for me.
Are you ready for them to excuse me, create a new type? Like I love Money in the Bank. Rewind 2 years, and I would probably say my favorite pay-per-view of the year is the Royal Rumble. My second favorite, and right behind it, is Money in the Bank. We're 2 years past that. I'm kind of I feel like it's played out. I'm kind of over it. Is it time to go to a Paul Heyman or a Michael Hayes, or who talks to God and gets these ideas? Is it time for a new idea? And let's put Money in the Bank to bed.
That would certainly be my call. I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
I think they view it as an important part of their calendar year. But that would be what I would advocate for. I don't think you even need something to replace it. I think it's their year. I think works pretty fine regardless of whether that's there or not. And on top of being a tired, kind of stale gimmick, I also just don't like the way they use it every year to have title changes that don't feel merited. And I wish they were focused more on the idea that the champion is the champion because they're the best. They build up to winning, important matches, and then they beat the champion. And I think that the use of the Money in the Bank as a way to have people win the title without really proving they're the best has sort of bled into all sorts of other parts of their programming. And so I don't think as much emphasis on the idea of making the matches about who's the best. And I think that takes some of the fun out of it. And I think some of the lasting, the likelihood of people to stick around as fans, because I think if you've got a sports like presentation where people care about the titles and care about who's holding the title, you can keep them, hooked, just like, NFL and NBA fans stay fans of the product over years and years and years. And if it's more just sort of like about happenings, then you see the happenings, and the happenings happen, and the title doesn't really feel like it matters all that much. It's like, well, I got my fill and I'm ready to move on. And I think that's, another consequence of, or byproduct more of that mentality.
Because if you think back to the Roman Reigns title reign, we weren't worried about someone with Money in the Bank taking his championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's because
it would have been ridiculous, because the title mattered.
Yeah. I mean, like it was a sports-like presentation. It was, this is real, and some fluke isn't going to ruin this. It's going to be, they're going to build up somebody to end this. It's not. It's
exactly.
I'm with you there. So
I'll say I'm on the other side of that, but just because I like it for the it's the Idol and Survivor. It's a way to kind of throw a plot twist in there, and it's part of the drama that separates at least to me, that separates WWE from traditional sport.
Yeah. Well, and they bragged about it on the post show. They're just like, hey, in the Super Bowl, at the end of the Super Bowl, it's not like someone could just show up and win the Super Bowl after the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not a good thing. Like, they're so proud. They're just like, yeah, they don't do this in the World Series. When the World Series is over, that's it. Another team doesn't show up and steal the championship. And I'm just like, yeah, that's like, your argument's not good.
But there's just to counter the whole it not feeling like warranted just because you don't build up to them winning the championship. I think at the end of the day, it's usually when they win from a cash in, it's like, you got to see me again when you cash in on me, and if you can't beat me then it really don't matter. So I think it works in that way, because it's like you still have to prove yourself one way or another. Like,
but
eventually,
the thing is, and that's what I was talking about. It's sort of bleeding into different things. Is like, if that was what they did, then fine. Like that would address the point. But what they usually do is it ends up leading to more flukes, or they don't do the exact rematch. I mean, look what they did with the women's Money in the Bank. They had her cash in with the Money in the Bank, and then they did a 3-way, and she stole a pin, and it didn't feel like she ever proved that she was better than the people that she stole the title from. And that's not an exception. They do that all the time in terms of the way they book things. And that's, to me, like, you should be rethinking all of that, like that the Money in the Bank, but also the bleed off into other parts of the show where you book lots of, matches that are designed to avoid having people settle who's better. and the television obviously is just an ending cycle of those sorts of matches, and I think that's counterproductive in the long term, and frankly the medium and short term too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the women's Money in the Bank cash in winner, Naomi, night 2, Naomi wins over in the 3-way over Io Sky, and top 5 biggest stars in the promotion, Rhea Ripley, who just cannot win a match if Io Sky is in there. Todd, let's start with you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were doing more. I thought it was a good match. The negative was the finish that I just alluded to. I thought it was kind of a weak way to settle things, which was a trend with night 2 of this show. There were a bunch of weak endings, but I thought the match itself was good. It was fast paced, a lot of nearest falls back and forth, and it was a good way to start off the show.
Ohmar.
Yeah, same. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I love Naomi. I did want to see her have a more dominant win, but I had a feeling it wasn't going to happen versus a Io Sky or Rhea Ripley. And it does kind of suck that the roll up wasn't quite as clean as Becky Lynch's, but it worked for me story wise because you have obviously what's going on between Io and Rhea, and the whole thing is, can Naomi just simply outsmart them at the very least to be able to get out with the title still? And she doesn't necessarily prove she's more dominated than them, but she kind of just it makes it seem like she's at the very least smarter than them to be able to know, all right, this is my opportunity to go for this pin right here. And even being smart enough to grab the tights to be like, hey, this is a triple threat. This is not going to cost me the match. I'm about to do this to secure my title win. I do. I'm not going to compare it to any of the other triple threat at WrestleMania because it's just not going to happen. It was good. It was a good way to start off the match.
Yeah.
I was happy because Naomi got to keep her title. She gets to go face Stephanie Becker. I'm very excited for that.
I'm ready for a draft. I'd like to see Rhea Ripley on SmackDown and just away from, because I think that Rhea Ripley is one of their biggest stars and easily their number 1 women's star. And I think Liv Morgan's right behind her, but I don't need them interacting anymore when Liv gets back. And, and I feel like there's plenty for Liv to do with Roxanne Perez and all that. So I would like, if we could shift Rhea Ripley over to SmackDown, I'm for a Jade Cargill Rhea Ripley feud, and that's how we write out Jade.
Yeah, like honestly, if you want to try to, that is a good last ditch effort because Rhea Ripley is one of those where it's like it's kind of hard to come across a bad Rhea Ripley match. It happens, but we'll have to see.
So. All right. Next is the 6-pack TLC tag match. It was the spot fest we all expected. I loved it. I did not like the winners. I am not a Wyatt. I don't like the Wyatt 6. So, but a great match. The highlight for me personally was Candice LeRae going through the ladder and
yes.
Gargano checking on her, to which Wade Barrett explained she said she was okay, and go ahead and try to get the belts without moving her lips. That's how close they are as a couple, that they talk without saying. That's I'm right there. Ohmar, what do you think of the six-pack challenge?
It was chaotic, honestly. I may be the only person who thinks that they would have benefited for maybe having 2 less teams involved. Maybe the entire division didn't need to be in this one match, but it was still pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I barely remember Andrade in this thing, other than the one bump on Bray Wyatt.
Besides that, Uncle Howdy. Okay. Besides that and him basically hoisting Ray Phoenix up on his shoulders to try to get the title down without a ladder, which is crazy. But yeah, they could have did something where they could have just had Andrade and Ray Phoenix feud with maybe Fraxium or something, and then just have everybody who's been playing hot potato with the titles actually be involved in the match. And they probably just would have made it a little more easier to follow, I guess, and more memorable than just a bunch of spots. Because in my mind, it really is just a bunch of spots.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you subtract the Wyatt 6 and Andrade and Phoenix, and
Well, that
it's a better match.
I was saying the only reason I would take the Y6 out is because they have the titles, so it would just be a non-title match at that point, where it's like, oh, all right, whoever wins after this, y'all just number one contenders, I guess. But
Don't put the belts
well, I
on.
guess that could have worked too.
Yeah. I just say don't put the belts on. So, Todd, where are you at?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good ladder match. Yeah, I thought like ladder matches are done to death, but I thought this was one of the stronger ones I've seen in a little bit in terms of just exciting spots and memorable moments, which is what the matches are about. And yeah, I'm certainly ready to move on from all the teams feuding with each other at the same time. And like you, I also would prefer someone else as the champions other than the Wyatt Six, but so it goes.
Yeah, let's send a couple of these tag teams over to let's get rid of the Wyatt 6 and then send a couple of these tag teams to Raw. And hey, there's that WWE draft that I mentioned. So all right, next.
Like it's been so long. Are they still doing that?
I think it's coming. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. The phrase that Lyra was looking for on Monday night was not the Becky shoe stumpers. Last kickers
that was right there. They literally used to call her the Irish last kicker. Why could they not? Why would she not use that?
I mean, well, they were too busy figuring out Shula Fala. So there's
there's a lot going on with shoes this week.
It is. It's Todd, what do you think of the women's intercontinental championship?
Yeah, I thought the match was good, particularly the work. I thought it was smart the way that Becky was really taking it to her with foreign objects and all sorts of shortcuts early, because I think there was some concern from myself and others that if you the match had the potential to drag with the crowd, and that I don't think people are particularly invested with Lyra and nor invested against Becky as a heel. So the way that Becky was so aggressive and using so many weapons, I thought naturally pulled people into the match and root for Lyra, which made the rest of the match go better. I thought the ending was weaker though. I thought that the involvement of Bayley felt like a series of developments that were made to surprise you, to swerve you on what was coming next, as opposed to feeling like a logical extension of what we've seen from Bayley on the televisions before the show.
Yeah.
Has there been anything logical from the Bayley stuff? Like what has been logical? That was weird. The last time I saw Bayley on TV.
My take on that was that like she was turning heel on the television show. Like when she booked that match with Lyra, it felt like she was plotting against her. She did the interview last week on Raw where it sounded like she was, disgruntled and angry and sort of agitating.
Fake
and
nine.
She ended up costing Lyra the match here, but it seemed altogether accidental. And in fact, she refused to attack Lyra here, which to me felt inconsistent with her character, which to me was someone that was souring on Lyra. And to me, the logical reason for that is not like anything about the characterization, but simply they thought that you thought that they were about to turn her, so she's not going to turn now. We're just going to, throw you off before we turn her.
Yeah,
and then maybe this whole throw, maybe the complete way to swerve it, which I think it would actually be welcome, is maybe Lyra actually turns heel because of how this worked out with Bayley costing her the match.
You could turn either of them. I don't think fans are particularly with Bayley or Lyra, but I'm in favor of sort of more character consistency. So at the point they on television made it seem like Bayley's turning, I would just turn her. Or if you want to do something else, I mean, I guess you couldn't do it Becky, but I mean, you could turn both of them, frankly, and that they're both not really over as faces, and they could form a heel tag team like the New Day did.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. The match itself, though, like it did what it was supposed to do. I was actually happy that Becky retained. I didn't want to really see Lyra win. I feel bad, but because she wins me over every time the bell rings, but soon as they hand her a microphone, I'm immediately no longer invested. Like, oh, this is rough. Like, are we sure that this call up wasn't too quick? But I like you said with the ending, it made for a very disjointed affair, but because I am so easy as a fan, and they ended the way that I wanted them to, I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. This was the least impressive match, at least to me, that they've had though.
Yeah,
I think
I
every
love.
other match they had before has been
Yeah,
better.
I love. I feel like this is the best bad guy Becky we've had yet. Last night. So I felt she really leaned in on it, and she was, as Todd said, she was just so aggressive that you're just like, okay, she's hateable, you know. So, but yeah, that's where we're at with that. All right. Next is I believe the Intercontinental Championship, the ode to Eddie Guerrero match.
Yeah.
I love Dominic. AJ Styles is my arch enemy in wrestling. My first night in TNA gave me a spinning power bomb and a legit concussion, so I will
Oh wow.
hate him. I'll send you the clip, Ohmar. You'll love it.
Oh.
Yeah. Ohmar, start with you.
Oh man, quick starters. I hate AJ Styles' hair. It bothers me. No end. But the match was great. It made me so it made me feel like I was missing out on something because I grew up Attitude Era fan, but I don't remember getting much of Eddie Guerrero. I remember his passing and like being like, oh, I remember that person, but I don't remember seeing a bunch of his matches. And like literally the most I've ever seen of an Eddie Guerrero match was playing 2K in showcase mode and getting like the clips of him and Kurt Angle. So which was good because it actually played into this whole match. So it
Yeah.
was very entertaining to watch. Yeah, like it was like watching the whole boot spot against shoes. It's a thing this week in WWE. The chair spot was hilarious when Dom throwing the chair and falling, but then AJ puts it on his head and flopping too. Like I was thoroughly entertained this entire match.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, that chair spot with Lyra and Becky Lynch was one of the
That was a good
gruesome,
spot.
craziest chair spots I've seen in quite some time. And you could see that Lyra had her hand in between. I'm like, oh, thank God. So that was crazy. Todd, the ode to Eddie Guerrero match.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was not particularly notable match, not really good nor bad. It was just sort of there.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, Dominic is. I love Dominic. I'm glad he won. I'm glad he got his moment. So, real quick, Ohmar, as far as Eddie Guerrero, not really a good worker. He's kind of like almost as good as Dominic. He wasn't really. he's, he was one of the greatest workers of all time. You would do yourself a disservice not looking up some Eddie Guerrero matches.
The thing that I really liked about Eddie on top of that is that as a heel in particular, like people liked him as a babyface, he was sort of a comedy figure, but as a heel, like circa like 1997 to 1998, he had such a swagger about him. He just carried himself like he was king shit. And he would have the great matches, but there was just an edge about him, a coolness about him that I think few wrestlers are able to pull off. So that was, I think, really Eddie Guerrero at his best before the carve back in WCW.
Yeah. So and being able to rock a mullet back then was not a cool thing. And
yeah, he somehow pulled it off. Yeah, that's a good point.
like now it's cool, but like he doubled down. Like it was just like literally it was just like, dude, there's nothing less cool than a mullet. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the mullet. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Everything I've seen about like all of the clips, everything that I've seen about him, they say it seemed like he would have been one of my favorite wrestlers had I been paying more. What year did he actually
pass?
2005, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I think Ben was 2006. Might have been 2006, 2007, or 2008.
Okay, so I would have been about 9. So I wasn't really like paying attention. I was just the big characters. I was more to Rock when I was growing up. That was my guy.
Sure,
But anyway,
sure.
yeah.
I will give you a quick Dominic story. I was at WrestleMania, whatever, in Seattle, whatever WrestleMania that was.
39 or 40?
No. Much earlier.
Oh,
Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar with the failed shooting star press. Which WrestleMania was that?
WrestleMania 19.
Which one? 19? Okay, I was at that WrestleMania, and I remember before the show, we were at the hotel, and we're going up to the room, and we're in the elevator, and it's me and the guy that did the Dead Grandma Lie with me on Survivor, and Rey Mysterio and young Dominic. This is like 8-year-old Dominic in the elevator, and Rey Mysterio looks to Dominic and points her at me. He goes, "You see that guy right there?" And Dominic's like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "That's a real life bad guy." And Dominic took a step backwards. So not like these phony baloney wrestler bad guys, a real life bad guy. And Dominic's like, fuck.
He might mug you on the way out of the elevator, kid. Be careful.
That's hilarious.
Yes. So, all right. It's main event time. It's John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. As I mentioned earlier, where the hell has this John Cena been for 8 months? Where's this fountain of youth that fixed his bald spot? He got almost returned. His cardio was there. He kind of sort of made the stupid faces. And the best match we've seen from John Cena in possibly 6 years. Todd, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it came off really well. And I think John Cena may be regretting it now because I bet his body's not doing well, but it was clearly a concerted effort to give a lot more than he's been giving in other matches. And I think his thought process was, this turn hasn't been going that well. The matches haven't been going that well. I want to give people a real positive memory here. For them to take home from my last little run here. And he put it on the line. They worked very hard. They used a ton of shortcuts in terms of like hitting a billion finishers and using all these big spots, but with the big kickouts. But it was in service of an important match, which I thought they pulled off well. Not perfect. I mean, Cena, there was some sloppiness here and there. You can see isn't, it is not the John Cena of 10 to 15 years ago, but he did quite well, and Cody did a good job with him as well. And I was very glad that they did not turn Cody or turn Cena back, as I was thinking was a distinct possibility. So definite thumbs up, and the thing that I thought carried the weekend, which is a good thing in your main event position.
Ohmar.
Yes, pretty well said. So as I mentioned earlier, I was a Rock fan growing up. So my entire life, I have rooted against John Cena. Because when The Rock left, John Cena showed up as the face of the company, and I was like, I don't like this guy. Very petty, I know.
Instinct.
And then when I got back into wrestling, of course, The Rock and John Cena feuded. I was with The Rock the entire time, and for my recollection, The Rock actually lost the match, what made me hate John Cena even more. So. This was the first time in my life I actually rooted for John Cena to win. Like the longer the match went on, I was like, I kind of want to see John Cena keep the belt. Like, it was really like it won me over. It was definitely WrestleMania redemption. Like you said, where is this John Cena been? Clearly trying to ruin wrestling, and he was doing a pretty damn good job of it. And I guess we have Cody Rhodes to thank for bringing this back out of him, because they shut it down. They did. They absolutely did. It was great.
No, I think we're much better shape than we've been in probably 8 months, or I don't know, whenever the Elimination Chamber. I guess 5 months, because as Todd Martin mentioned on the fix with Todd Martin on PW Torch website. There was a whole believability of wrestling that you had with the bloodline that creeped its way into everything else. And it was just like, I love this guy's a good guy. I'm rooting for him. This guy's a bad guy. I'm rooting against him. All the pieces were in place. It had a more sports type feel to it. It was great. And then you have, as Todd said, old phony baloney John Cena with a phony baloney heel turn. And as a result, you're watching phony baloney wrestling, and it trickled down to, where it's Dominic Mysterio was a great heel, but it's like, oh, but it's phony baloney, and, and he eats chicken nuggies, and he's with the hot girl. So it's just root for him, even though he's a scumbag and we haven't been up until now, but it's phony baloney wrestling now. So who cares? So I'm hoping that this with putting the pieces back in place without John Cena being a phony baloney heel, maybe this is the pieces are back together to where we're in good shape moving forward, and we can suspend that belief again and be like, hey, like, like, is Brock Lesnar gonna kill John Cena? I want to see. Is Cody Rhodes going to be that champion that's going to take on whatever nefarious guy that comes his way, and he's going to do it the right way? Or even if he has to be a little evil, we're behind it because we need good over evil. Like I feel like this is a great reset, and the punctuation on the reset was this match, and then the elephant in the room, the return of Brock Lesnar.
Yes, this night, like it made me realize how much I actually screamed in reactions to things, because and I was also glad that I was in my car and not in the store when I was at work watching it, because I screamed so loud when that music hit. I have been waiting for Brock Lesnar to come back for a while. Like that, it was just crazy because I've never been like the biggest Brock Lesnar fan, but there was something about the way Braun Breaker had came into the main roster, and I was like, oh, the perfect person for him to feud with would be a Brock Lesnar, because they were setting him up to be like the new like monster on the roster. He was just spearing everybody and all this other shit. And I was just like, please let this Brock Lesnar music hit one time. Not for him, but the fact that he is back means that is on the table now. And my God, I could just do a whole lot of things right now out of excitement.
All right, and Todd, to finish up, the return of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of criticism of it, obviously, with the Janelle Grant suit, and I'm not wild about it, but I'm not terribly bothered by it either. And that, I mean, the basic argument against bringing him back is the accusation in the suit, and specifically a lot of people pointed to the idea that that the Janelle Grant suit alleges that that she was offered to him as part of a contract negotiation with WWE. And that is what Vince McMahon said to Janelle Grant. But I think there's reason to believe that, in spite of what he said, that wasn't really the case of what was going on, and that this was a guy that clearly got off on sadistic behavior towards Grant. It was a turn on to him, the idea that he could force this woman to do what he wanted her to do and be sort of a pawn in the negotiations. And I don't know, or I think there's reason to believe that he wouldn't bring that up with Brock Lesnar in that way, because why would he? I think it's almost insulting to Brock Lesnar, who's looking for the right money terms. If Vince McMahon were to seriously bring up like, oh, and I'll give you this woman, like Brock Lesnar, number one, he has access to women, and number two, he's looking for the most money. So I don't see him bringing that up as a serious thing. I think that Vince McMahon got off on the idea of it, just like he got off on the idea of saying that he wanted to send her to go, have sex with construction workers. I believe he said at one point that worked for the company. I think it was a degrading thing to say. It reflects poorly on Vince, but that doesn't mean that it was seriously going on. And look, I'm not absolving Brock, because do I think it's possible that Brock recognized that there was a coercive element involved in the relationship between Grant and McMahon? I think that's a possibility. Absolutely. But do I think it's possible that he thought that this is two consenting adults and she was into it and she was fine with it, and it was a little game that they were playing, and that there wasn't that coercive element? It seems to me that's possible too. And WWE Legal talked with him, and evidently they cleared him, which says to me, because they're not looking to set themselves up for trouble over a guy that isn't that important in the big picture. That says to me that he gave answers that they were satisfied with in terms of his understanding of what was going on between Vince and Janelle Grant. And with Laurinaitis, it was a lot harder to say that he wasn't aware, because the scenes in the lawsuit of Vince doing these terrible things to her while Laurinaitis was in the room, which would suggest Laurinaitis had to know there was something pretty dark and sinister in what was going on here. The Brock thing is not entirely so clear. And again, I'm not absolving him. I'm just saying I don't have enough information. I've got Janelle Grant's side. I have not heard Brock's side, nor have I seen evidence of what the discussions were between Vince and Brock, which to me is a real key to thing. What sort of paper trail there is there to suggest the way that Vince framed it to Brock. And so not absent knowing that, the whole thing obviously is, there's a skeevy element to it. But I don't feel like I have enough information to categorically come down on them for the decision to bring them back. I just feel like I don't have enough information.
Yeah, I don't think Brock can't my favorite story, like you see the interviews with The Rock, and The Rock has every championship he's ever won in a glass case behind him. And, the Matt Hardy has every belt behind him. Brock Lesnar, notorious, comes home from the title defense, drops off the gym bag right beside the washer and dryer with his tights, with his socks, with his underwear, with his boots, and the belt. And the belt doesn't leave the bag. The guy does not give a fuck. There is just sitting there beside the washer and dryer in the laundry room coming out of the garage. So, when Vince is negotiating, it's just like, hey, we'll give you this money, and then we'll let you be the champ, and you can have this girl. I can see Brock. I don't give a fuck about the belt. I'm pretty good. I got Sable. I won that lottery. We're good there. Get back to the money. Where are we at on the money? And I feel like that's where Brock is. Do I think that Vince possibly mentioned it? Yes. Do I think also just as probable or possible is he told her that because that's what he got off on saying stuff like that and demeaning her. And so there's a possibility it was never even mentioned to Brock. And even if it was, I'm sure Brock was like, yeah, that's great, but back to the money.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I was just all of my fans' world of Brock Lesnar is back. I didn't even think about this.
Well, yeah, it's for the best. I mean, it's a dark ass story. I mean, it's unpleasant and it's awful, and it's better. I think it's more satisfying to people just focus on the in-ring. But yeah, that's
definitely. It's like I'm about to go look into all of that. Like if an official story comes out that says I should not support this person, I will. But until then, give me Brock Lesnar versus Braun Breaker, please.
There we go. All right, there we go. Todd, he's all about the fun times and the fun and the good times. So what do you got?
Except for Sami Zayn, that dickhead.
Fuck that good time. All right. So
I will say his interest theme penetrated my mind. I do like it. It plays on 2K when I play it. It's a good time. I love that theme, but I still hate the character.
It's a good time, Todd. So Todd, everybody can find you Todd Martin MMA on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I don't post it there anymore. So yeah, just pwtorch is .com is where you can find my podcast.
Okay, there we go. Go to pwtorch.com. Go VIP. It's worth it. It's literally my favorite podcast of the week. Each and every week is the Fix with Todd Martin. So
thanks, Johnny.
Thank you. And Ohmar, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at DOG on Instagram. I don't be on there much. But I also do have my own YouTube channel where I do movie reactions and just talk about anything I want to talk about whenever I want to talk about things. It's Seen It, as in movie scene, SCENE apostrophe T. It.
There we go.
The
Can I you got the OG, just THEOG on Instagram?
So it is I want to say it's the one OG, like THEE #1 OG. I wasn't fortunate enough to get
I was like, that's a hell of a tag to get.
I say you were fast.
That's a good one.
Yeah. No, it was not that.
I'm at Jonny Fairplay on pretty much everything. JONNY, no H and Johnny. You'll see pretty much when a new thing comes out. I quickly grab Jonny Fairplay so I can get it. So, a fan doesn't get it or whatever. But there are several platforms that, like Reddit, in which my name is Fairplay Hates You, because I hate whatever asshole took my name before I got it. So, with that, yeah, go to johnnyfairplay.com. Links to the podcast, links to upcoming shows. I'm going to be in Chicago October 15th for a Survivor viewing party with Jam Jam. It's the ultimate VIP experience. That's at survivortix.com. But as I said, links to everything at johnnyfairplay.com. And thank you, Todd. Thank you, Ohmar. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.